Well, Joe Siracusa joins me now from Perth in Australia. He's with Curtin University and is the Dean of Global Futures at the Faculty of Humanities. Hi there, Joe. So the definition of a mass shooting in the US is 4 or more people shot in one incident. By that definition, this year alone, there have been 442 mass shootings in the country. That's according to a website that actually tracks this. That's more days than there have been this year or any year. This is a shocking statistic, but it's become far too normal in the United States.
Yes, it is. Good afternoon, Yashidi. Look, this can only be explained as the American disease. This is madness. These are children shooting children. About 48 to 50,000 Americans are killed by guns or gun-related things in the course of a year. You're right. This is, I think it's 384, whatever it is, mass shootings, 4 or more. And you got to keep in mind that there are 330 million Americans. There are 500 million registered guns, as I've pointed out before. There are more gun dealers in America than McDonald's hamburgers. And, God knows how many guns are not registered. And, this disease, this American disease, which Americans fail to grapple with, began on August 1st, 1966. I was a young man at university at the time, and an engineering student at the University of Texas, Charles Whitman, climbed the tower, killed 14 people and wounded 69 others with a rifle. And this was the first mass murder in a public place in the United States. So this disease is 58 years old, and because it's politicized, that is, as soon as we start talking about guns, people talk about the Second Amendment, which allows Americans to have and bear arms, as a matter of fact. So people imagine it interferes with their politics or interferes with their liberties and all the rest of it. That's ridiculous. We didn't even have registration of gun dealers until 1968 with Lyndon Johnson. We have no control over this, and Americans just kind of shrug their shoulders and they regard this as normal. What is normal about a 14-year-old kid killing his classmates at school? Nothing.
Nothing, absolutely. Joe, and I'm just wondering, you've described this as the American disease. More guns than McDonald's burgers, more guns than people. How do you cure this disease?
Well, you start to do things like you work on the margins or on the edges. You try to make sure that the people who do purchase guns have been cleared for it, that they don't have criminal or mental records, and you try to make sure that the assault rifles are not available. We have assault rifles that you use in wartime that people have in their households, to protect themselves and shoot rabbits or whatever it is. So you try to reduce the power of the guns. You try to increase the checks on people. In some places, there is a waiting period. But look, if you and I are driving around Virginia and we go into a gun fair, we could buy any gun in the place without a check. So, as long as there are gun fairs in America, they can get around all the laws. And Americans are, they're really thick about this. I mean, these children are dying for no reason at all, and because we can't take these guns off the market. And there really is no solution, and they imagine it's got something to do with your liberty, which is ridiculous. And these kids are going to be tried as adults. I mean, that violates every charter in the world, a 14-year-old being treated as an adult. These kids, God knows what's going on in their minds and all the rest of it. But it's no accident that these mass killings in a public place began with the violence that was exposed during the Vietnam War on American television. That's where this disease begins, with the exposure of that war, and with asking 18-year-old kids, people in my generation, the Vietnam generation, to get engaged in war. And we have had no control since that time.
And of course, America has since then been involved in so many wars across the world. This, of course, could be an issue that it will be raised with those upcoming elections in November. But how big an issue is it going to be? Also considering that the NRA is such a huge lobby group in the country, I believe the second biggest in the States.
Well, they're going to talk about it as an issue about getting the high-powered guns off the market. But look, the Democrats' vice presidential candidate, he's a member of the National Rifle Association. Um, and they're not just Democrats and Republicans. These are people who go duck hunting and all the rest of it. Look, the Americans would be as attached to their guns whether you had it in the Second Amendment or not. They reserve the right to protect themselves. And people in politics will talk about how sad they are and their heart goes out. But you know what? They don't do a damn thing about it. I've been watching this all my life, and beginning with Charles Whitman. And of course, these guys begin the morning by killing their families, by the way. They just don't. Most of them take everybody out. Then we saw Columbine and all these publicized places, these cases. And it's the fact that nobody wants to do anything about it isn't really the issue. The thing is they can't do anything about it. The politicians won't allow them. And of course, the people in return, they don't want any infringement on their right to bear arms. Mm-hmm. So does this make any sense to people outside the United States? Absolutely not. No sense. No point in trying to make sense of it. No. This is an American disease that's going to have to just blow itself out.
Joe Siracusa, good to get your analysis there live to us from Perth.